Welcome to my new season of Flying on Broken Wings. And I'm excited to open up this new season with my guest tonight, Raven-Symone. An upcoming show is going to include the 80s R&B group Pure Energy and a conversation about their latest release, Midnight Magic, which is due to drop any day, and you're going to want to hear that because it is magical. And finally, for those of you who live in the North Jersey area, I will be doing a book reading and book signing at the Book House, which is located at 281 Essex Street in Millbury, New Jersey, on November 2nd at 6 o'clock p.m. So please stop by and join me. More information will follow on both these events. And so I just say to you that if you have a book that you purchased from me already and you didn't get a signature and you'd like to get a signature, that would be the day to do so. So you just bring your book by and I'll be happy to sign it for you. And tell a friend, bring as many people as you like to come by, because it's going to be one of those nice cozy little spots where we sit and we'll talk about the book. If you have questions, I'll be happy to address them. We'll have some light fare, and I'll be signing your copies. But tonight we are going to be talking to our guest that will be coming on with us shortly. In about 4 minutes, she will be coming on. So let's just wait for her to get here. But in the meantime, I want to see who's joining us. What are you saying? So I'm being told that the screen is frozen. I hope that that's not the case, but I can see it doesn't seem to be frozen on my end. Let me see. But anyway, let me just talk to some people that I see here. Hello to Brit's Thoughts. Hi, Miss Williams, Miss Adina. And Miss Adina, thank you so much for helping me out. Brit's Thoughts says, hi, Dr. Hudson, how are you? I'm fine. Hey, Ben, that's my uncle who's always here.
John says okay.
And I just got the okay that it's okay. Someone else's screen was freezing. Hey, Willie Hudson, that's my brother-in-law, one of my many brothers-in-law. Okay, I see quite a few people. Hi, Marco from Theo, who has joined. Naj Alexander joined. Thank you. Hello, Jordan. Jordan has joined me. West Coast kids are here. The West Coast kids would be my Uncle Ben and his granddaughter. They're the West Coast kids. And so I always look forward to them being here because Maddie, who is my little cousin, is one of my biggest fans. So, hey, Maddie, good to see you. I hope your new school year is going great. Doc Speed, hello. Doc Speed is saying, not for me. I'm not sure what that means. Hey, PG. Okay, thank you, Miss Adina. She says, I can hear and see you well. Thank you very much for that. Jordan says, good to go. Hey, Lynn, how are you? Shimo Diva, hello, how are you? Hello, my son is on. Hey, Eric, he's waving to me. Let me wave back to everybody. My long time friend, Barbara Harris, is on. Barbara and I have been friends since 3rd grade. That's a long time. Hi, Barbara. I'm glad you joined us. Diva has joined, and actually our guest has joined us, Raven. And so whenever she's ready to request to join us, we will get started. So Raven, whenever I get that request, you can come on in. Now I see Brit's Thoughts says, I still remember my amazing day with you and your family, meeting Raven, one of my favorite childhood memories. Now I know who Brit is. That's Brittany. Yes, Brittany, I remember that day as well. Teresa, my one of my line sisters. Hello, Teresa. My daughter Zamia is on. She's waving. Hey, my sister-in-law Barbara Hudson is on. Wow, lots of people. Hey, Z Gay. So we've got lots of people here, and as soon as we get our guests to send us a request. I'm not sure if she sent that request yet. Hello, Hortense. How are you? That's another cousin. We will. Okay, so let me see. I clicked on go live with Raven, and I'm not seeing her come in just yet. I'm not sure.
She requested.
Yeah, I see she's requesting, but it's not coming through. Raven, hang in there. I'm looking. I see it says you requested. Trying to get you. Don't know why you're not coming through. I did click on it. Let me click down here. We had this before. Okay, there we go. There we go. I think we got you now. Let's see what happens. I clicked on the request and it says that. Okay. Let me do it again. It says Raven is unable to join. I'm not sure. Okay, what's going on with that? Let me do it again. It says accept. Okay, I'm wondering if it's because there's several other people who are also clicking on request to join. Raven is the only one that should be clicking on that. Hey, Raven.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm thinking, okay, is it because all these other people are clicking also? There were about 4 other requests there to join.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm thinking, that's not what we want to do. But anyway, how are you?
I'm well. How are you? Good to see you.
Good, you as well. So just want to welcome everybody to Flying on Broken Wings. For those of you who don't know, I am the host, Dr. Bivins-Hudson. And if you are a first-time person being on this with me, if you're joining us for the first time, the impetus for the show actually comes from the title of my book, which is also Flying on Broken Wings. And the book is a memoir. Journey, taking you through the journey of my life from before I was a year old to young adulthood, when I was experiencing lots of pauperism, that is with being unhoused, being hungry, being abused, just living in some general dysfunction. But the sense of prominence is that here I am. I'm here now. And that's what's important, because I am here now. And so my guests that come on with the understanding that when we talk about the broken wings, the flying on broken wings concept, it is a metaphor, a trope for those of us who have been flying on broken wings or on someone else's wings. And, sometimes what we call it is standing on the shoulders or the backs of other people. And many of us have had to do that. So that's what that concept is about. And Raven knows that. And she's waving. So I guess she's waving to a lot of people because a lot of people are on and they are waving to her. So we're going to just get started. And so today we are interviewing my guest. Now this is a lot of names. I got it. It's Raven-Symone, Christina, Pierman, but Mayday.
Mayday.
Yes.
Mayday.
Oh, Mayday. Mayday. Got
You
it.
use my middle name. I use my middle name. Whoa, hold up now.
I got it all. Got it all. And so, Raven she's the incomparable, the legendary, the iconic, talented, smart, and funny person.
Thank you.
She's all those things. And so let me just set this up, Raven, so we can get started. First of all, we're going to talk about some things that perhaps people may not know about you, but also we're going to talk about the metaphor the broken wings trope and how it resonates with you, and then talk about living in your own truth. But before we get to that, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about some of your accolades. Now, I'm not going to go into all of it because we know it would take me the entire evening to do that. And we want to spend time with you. So let me just say that Raven has received several accolades, including 5 NAACP Image Awards, 2 Kids' Choice Awards, 3 Young Artist Awards, 3 Daytime Emmy Award nominations, and in 2012, you ready for this? She was included on VH1's list of 100 greatest child stars of all times.
Oh, I didn't know
What a
that.
feat. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's just wonderful. But that's not all who Raven is. We know that for those of us who don't know, Raven has actually been working since she was an infant. So I found that she worked for Atlanta's Young Faces Incorporated modeling agency and was featured in local print advertisements. And then, of course, by the time she was 2, she worked with Ford models in New York City and appeared in ads for Ritz crackers, Jell-O, Fisher Price, and Cool Whip.
Yeah.
Now we all know where you were when you were 3, because that's when we all understood who Raven was. So as 3, you started the Cosby Show, and you stayed there until that show ended. And after that, your career seems to have just taken off into so many different directions. There's TV, there's movies, there's leading film roles, there are voiceovers, there's Disney, and who can forget Broadway?
Oh my God.
Curtis and I were there when you were Dolores Van Cartier in Sister Act.
Yes.
That was fun. That was fun.
That was fun.
And of course, there's the music. There you have a lot of songs to your credit.
Yeah.
And as I stated earlier, you're so talented that you even took all of that, and in the midst of all of that, you decided, well, let me just go over now to the View and see what I can do over there too. And so you did that. You spent some time over there as well. And it just speaks to how talented you really are. You are a true talent.
Thank you.
And so we all appreciate that.
Thank
so,
you. I love you. Thank you.
I love you back. As a matter of fact, I said I was going to ask you this question, which is, you and I have been in and out of each other's space for a number of years. I could not remember. I remember the first meeting. I just can't remember what year it was. Do you have any idea what that was?
Listen, when I look at you, I'm like, I think we've been family for longer than we've actually seen each other's presence.
Exactly.
So let's say from the beginning, we've always been family. Because I don't remember exactly when either. I was definitely, maybe like between 18 and 22, somewhere in that area. And I'm 37 now, so somewhere in that area.
Right. Somewhere in there, right? And so we've just been connecting in and out, in and out. The good thing though is that it doesn't matter, because whenever we connect, it's always a great connection.
Yes, ma'am.
It's always like, it's like we saw each other the day before, right? And so that's a good thing. So now we're going to talk a little bit about those things that I just mentioned. But before we do that, let's just go to see again, check out, see who's here. We got quite a few people here. Eric says that you're a legend.
Oh, Eric, so are you. So are you. You know you are.
Someone says that you're a great Sagittarian. Oh my goodness, it's just so much. It's going so quickly. I can't even read it all. It's going by very, very quickly. Jada Bias.
So much love in the comments right now. I just want to say thank you for everybody who's showing up. Miss Hudson has been Dr. Hudson. I don't know what to call you in like public.
Whatever you want.
You have inspired me in ways that you don't know when you told me about your story. When I see your face, when I see your disposition, it always makes me smile. It always makes me go, you know what? No matter what you're going through, suck it up. Get through your day. You got this. And that is so important for people that look like us, so important for females, so important for human beings in general. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but I love you.
And I love you back.
Anything and everything is going to
love you back.
Whatever you want.
Okay. So let's get started. So now, we, as you know, mental health and the challenges that go along with mental health is something that it's front and center right now for many people. And for our people in particular, we don't always talk about mental health. I don't know if it's because we're embarrassed by it, or if it's because we feel like somehow we may have taken some part in what's happening to the person. Or then there's that stigma that's associated with that whole course of discrimination around it. So there's a whole lot. But my question to you is, what can you share with us about mental health and how it has affected your life?
For the first part of my life on this earth, there was no such thing as mental health in my world, because you're sad, suck it up, you got stuff to do. You're happy, it's obvious you should have been doing that in the first place, so don't think about it. There's a twitch, I don't have time. You don't have time for twitches, you got to make money. Any type of affliction you may have, if it wasn't really, really strong on the spectrum, it was kind of dismissed as you're being a nuisance, or, suck it up, we have other things to do. I always use that, but that's what it felt like. And as I got older and talking with other people that have the opposite way of growing up, which was, you fall down, oh my goodness, are you okay? Compared to how I fell down, you bleeding? No? Okay, then let's go. There's just a different way of thinking about it. So when you're in contact with people that take mental health seriously, from, you have a migraine or you're sad that day, you need a mental health break. It's interesting to then look at myself and go, whoa, like I got a lot of stuff going on that I've been suppressing because it wasn't helpful to someone else's lifestyle. And it impeded that person from succeeding, even though it was detrimental to my body. And also coming to terms with, because of the unchecked mental health that I was going through, my body had repercussions. Weight gain, up and down, skin issues from left and right, and brain issues that I'm learning now. I'm taking like my fish oils. Anyway, it's really important. I think that human beings are very delicate, and over the course of our life here on earth, we have continuously just pushed that delicate side to the back. If we are a machine, we are flesh and blood, but when we're in society on an everyday basis, it's like, I got to get to work, I got to do this, I got people that need my help, I have to do all kinds of stuff. So being able to go home, really do a mental health check and take care of your body will then give you presence later. Like now I'm starting to work on my mental health. I'm able to maintain my weight a lot easier. My digestion's better. My skin is clearer. I personally can deal with my sexuality because I'm not suppressing other things around me. But then it's a lot, and I think it's very important for every human. And as we continue to grow as a society, we start looking into that and saying it's okay to be sad, and let's get help about it. It's okay to be extremely happy, but if you're happy and sad in one day and then it's making you go gamble, maybe you need some help. You know what I mean? It's interesting how we do that.
Right. And I think one of the things that you said that I think is so important is when you said that we should get help. And that's what I think people miss. And it's so simple that you should get the help. But for whatever reason, excuse me, for whatever reason, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier when I said we don't talk about mental health issues because it's embarrassing or it's taboo or it's whatever. And at the end of the day, we are hurting ourselves because we end up being on the other end of that spectrum. Whereas, like you pointed out, and I think that's also important, we are trying to help somebody else to be successful. And when you're trying to help other people, you end up being on the other end, which is also what Black women do.
We're taught to do that.
We do it all the time. We're always going to take care of everybody else, and then we become the last person to be looked after. And the question becomes, who's going to look after us? Who's going to look after us, right? So we have to do what we have to do. And so I think it's a really good thing that you have founded in your heart to be able to voice what you're saying, because there are lots of people who look to you, who look up to you, and who think that you have something worth saying and worth listening to. And so because of that, hopefully the self-care will be the next thing. It will come to people who actually need it. So
it's hard though. It's hard though. Can I just
yes, absolutely.
It's hard though, because like you said, we're taught differently. Like a lot of people feel like they don't have the ability to take care of their mental health because there's so much on their back. And then you say, go get help. What does help look like? Help looks like, I remember when I broke up with someone, 100% honest here. I drank like 2 bottles to the head, this back in the day, and was on my on my back, just sad for I think at least 3 or 4 months, and I gained a whole bunch of weight. My friends, I was like, come help me. They were like, let's go here, let's go drink, let's go, and I'm like, that's not real help. Real help is sitting down, having a conversation, crying. One of the things that we tend to do is don't cry, but crying is a way of release. A lot of times when you have pain and suffering in your human, we hold it in our body. So PTSD and CPTSD, when you have those things going on in your life, you hold it in your body. So one of the things that I did for my self-help was I got hypnotherapy, and I went through 3 sessions. And at the end of every session, I would shake violently. And you hear it on TikTok, some people that you're like, oh, she's so, she's affluent, she don't need to be doing this, but like shaking violently. And that's letting your body release those memories and those feelings that you held on to as a child that you could not share, or that person who was raising you didn't even know how to take care of their own emotions, so therefore they didn't know how to take care of yours. And you have to do that in your adult life. You have to take care of yourself and heal that child that went through that. And remember, my wife says something, and I'm like, that is so profound, even though it's obvious. It's like, I'm the same child that went through that problem. I just got bigger and put some more hats on and kind of like forgot about it. But I have to go down there and talk to that person. So when you go get help, it doesn't always have to be a therapist. It could be your best friend. But that best friend needs to sit down with you and be like, how are you? And don't just say okay. Don't say that, I don't want to burden you with my issues. You're not burdening as long as you're not taking all of your bags and placing it on them. What they're doing is just holding the door so that you don't run away from yourself and let yourself grieve for whatever loss or whatever pain you're going through. And then after that, suck it up and go get that bag. You know what I mean? Like you need that time to yourself and then go.
Absolutely. And so you've said something else too that resonates with me. And you talked about not necessarily having to go to a therapist, because now that you've read my book, you know that there are people who would say you needed to have gone to a therapist. Yet I found therapy in writing. So when I wrote my book, that was the therapy. But something else too, I also found therapy in sharing with my children, sharing with them what had happened to me, what I had gone through. And the fact that they were so understanding, and the fact that they were my children, so they were going to be real with me, and they were going to see me for who I was. I was bare and open to them about it. And so as a result, they were able to look at me and say the things that I needed to have said, even if one of those situations was, I don't need to say anything, just sit and listen to you. And I think that's missing with a lot of people. They don't have that. They don't have the people that they can talk to, or the people that they can say, well, let me just share this with you and see how you can help me. It's so important. It's so important, as you said. Very important. Let me take a look at what's going on here, because there are quite a few comments, and it's just difficult to.
My friend.
Yes. So Music 23, I guess. No, Miss CC 23 says, "Thank you for." Oops, it went right away. Thank you for bringing up the. I think she said, "Thank you for bringing up the subject on mental health." Yeah, because I think people need to hear this, and they need to hear it from people like yourself. Because here's the thing, whether we want to accept it or not, when we see people like you, and we see you on the screen, and you're smiling, and you're doing all those things that you are paid to do, we look at you and say, oh, she's perfect. But now people who really know about life and the changes that you can go through know that you're not perfect. So when you come out and say, well, listen, I've had some mental challenges, then it becomes real to many people. And so that's why it's also very important for someone like yourself to come on any platform and talk about your mental health, to share with people. And it helps to open up the doors too for those people who need to heal and have not found a way to do so. Because that's the other thing. People think that they have to go to a therapist, and they don't necessarily have to do that. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that that you've done these things, and this piece about at the end of the sessions where you were going through these changes, that's really interesting, really
Oh,
interesting.
it's very interesting. It's to the point where like when I get really angry or when I'm in an argument, I sometimes shut down and I won't talk for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It's like it's like the scene with Neo when he gets his whole mouth covered and I'm like, I can't talk. That's because I let a lot of stuff build up from my childhood that I never released.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started going to these sessions, I was shaking so much to where I was judging myself, like, this isn't real. Why are you lying to yourself? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
fake? And that's not true. That is the sick brain telling yourself that you have to be perfect all the time,
Mm-hmm.
especially the position that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted just to talk about, in the industry right now, there's a lot of people within my age bracket and within my industry who are talking about mental health. So some people will be like, it's trendy. But what I think it is actually necessary in today's world. We have so many ways of communicating, but we all feel alone in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that many this, I don't have that many that. And it's like, this right here is therapy. This
Mm-hmm.
conversation will help
Yep.
someone. This conversation is going to help me for what I'm dealing with right now. I got issues today, honey. Had a conversation today. I'm not trying to be on television right now, but I'm doing it for you. But like every moment, if you allow your experience in the present to be a master class in life, you can overcome things. It's not going to be perfect every time. It's not going to be pleasurable every time. It's going to be fun sometimes and whatever. But if you step back and become your own observer, you have the ability to learn from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can step back, some people would call that disassociating, but in a healthy way, you can see what's going on and then come back into the body. And I do that. I do my sessions now not as frequently and I don't shake as much, but the very first time I did it, I think I shook for like 20 minutes
Wow.
and I could not stop myself and I felt so embarrassed and nobody was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I did it over Zoom. I was embarrassed. I was putting myself down because I'm like, you're strong, you don't have this problem, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, no, at the same time, the thoughts that are coming in my head are things that thought about when I was like 5 years old and no one asked me how I really felt or what I
Mm-hmm.
was really going through.
Mm-hmm.
So they hide in our blood, they hide in our fat cells, they hide in our bones, they hide as dis-ease of the body. So it's real.
Oh yes, it's very, very, very real. And until we start to deal with it on a level that's going to really and truly help us, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we can sweep under the rug anymore. Doesn't matter who you are, what race, creed, or color, it's affecting us. And if we don't fix it, it's going to affect the next generation as well. So that's important, because the next generation is here and it's happening. We see it. It's at an all-time high. And
I
so there
mean,
needs to be.
it's happening even more than just the people that are here right now because women carry the eggs of
Yes.
their children's
Mm-hmm.
children. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that I'm going through right now is going to affect the generation that happens after me because of me holding it in my body. That's
Right.
the crazy part too, right?
Right.
It's not just outside. It's like, who's ever growing in me? I'm not pregnant.
Right.
But you know what it
Right.
is.
I get it.
They're getting all the trauma that I'm
Mm-hmm.
going through right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah. Somebody just said on the call that we have to wear the mask, and that is absolutely correct, That's what we do. And I think that's what Raven is talking about. That's what we have to do because of who we are. I know I've had to do it a number of years, and people have, people always look at me and say, "Oh, you always look so well put together. You always look so happy. You always look so this." And to that degree, I am. But at the same time, I'm not perfect, and I do experience some of the things that other people experience. And certainly I have experienced some of those things as it relates to what you have read about in my book, and having to deal with those things. And that's been a lot. I had an instructor, a professor say to me, "You should have been a statistic."
Yeah.
Because she said, "There's no way you should have survived all of that and come out like you are."
But you are a statistic in the positive sense.
Way.
In the
Absolutely.
positive sense, you are the statistic, because we want more people like you. We can't fix a childhood, but we can manipulate their future so that it's better. And more people need to know that. You don't have to live in the misery that you grew up in. You can.
Exactly. And you were so wise to be 37 years old.
I did a lot of reading. I've been through a lot. Not as much as you, but I've been through a lot.
Well, that's good though that you have done that. You've done that. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit now about because that was something that I think people didn't necessarily know about you. So we'll talk a little bit now about the metaphor, the broken wings trope, and how it has resonated in your life in terms of your dreams and your hopes and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, one, if y'all haven't read that book, please do. Just do. There's only maybe 2 books in this world that I've read as fast as this one, and one was the Da Vinci Code, and the other one was the Celestine Prophecy. Your book is magnificent.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because it's a true story, to be 100, and you wrote it so real and right there. But the question, listen, I come from a family that grew up poor as well, and their hopes and dreams lived on the success that they wanted for their child. And with that came a lot of silent responsibility that was reframed as, this is going to be good for you and your career and your life, and this is a family business, and this is, all of that. But when it's broken down and looked through another lens, sometimes I feel as if I was fulfilling dreams that others couldn't fulfill for themselves. And not everybody, and I'm not naming names, so don't try to speculate. I'm not saying names because I don't want to name y'all in the comments. Okay, so not to you. That attitude was not for you, Dr. Hudson.
I know. Listen. I know.
You know me. Okay. So with that understanding, and it makes me wake up in the morning and be like, what do I want to do with my life? Since I was 16 months old, I've been doing what I was told to do. And when I turned 30, I was still doing the things that I was told to do as a baby. And as I turned 37, as I turned 38 this year, I look back and I'm like, okay, how many of these things are by rote because I just know I have to? And what am I actually doing that I want to do? And that's slowly changing for me, because in my position, I was told to do things that actually got me success. So I'm complaining about being successful in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you mean.
But ultimately, I'm still I'm in a little bird cage if I stay doing the checklist that they had. However, that's changing. The first breakout of the cage was saying that I am gay. Like, that was the first thing. Friends knew it all day. Friends knew it up and down. Never hid it from friends. Hid it from family, kind of. But that was supposed supposed to ruin my career. That was supposed to prevent me from getting bags for the rest of my life, you know? But that was that mentality in that age bracket. And then the next one was doing The View, knowing that I was able to share my opinion no matter how crude or crass it was. And then after that, you know, I got the amazing opportunity to have another show with my name on it. However, it was in the same checklist as what I was told to do for so long. So what I did, instead of like pushing the entire world away that actually gave me success and lets me live a comfortable life, I'm morphing it while I'm inside of it. I started learning how to direct. I found passions outside of just the acting part. And now I'm directing. And so I've taken this kind of tainted feeling I have in the career that I have and changing it over to something positive. I'm able to use my talents in a way where I feel fulfilled and my companies are happy as well.
Right.
I give and take now. And that's difficult. It's really difficult sometimes. It's hard for me to not take a job because I'm so used to saying, yeah, I'll do that. And it's like, you got to put on that mask again. I don't really want to do it. I actually had a conversation with someone the other day. They were like, can you be a little nicer? I was like, what? And we're like, yeah, we're just so used to you being like super nice. And I'm like, oh, so you don't want to know me. You want to know Raven-Symone, the person that I put on all the time. Understood. And, you know, yeah, that hurts. That hurts because the real me sits at home, like, friends who know me know that I am very different than you know, what I portray out there in the pubs. But I'm also doing that because that's what I was taught. And I'm slowly finding how to, what up, Brazil? I'm slowly finding how to, like, mend the two. I think that as more jobs come my way and more things happen in my career, you will start to see kind of the me that I am now. I'm closer, I don't know how old everybody is in the comments, but I'm closer to Daria. You know, remember that cartoon from MTV? I'm closer to that than like a Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory. But anyway, I'm not regretful. I don't regret anything. Every bad thing, every good thing, what up, Vicky Vox? Love you, boo. Whatever moment I went through helped me get here. And in the moment, detrimental, sad, self-destructing, you know, all kinds of things. But a week or two out, looking back, I'm like, I needed that. I needed to grow that muscle, that scab. I needed to experience that because I wouldn't be who I am now if I didn't have it. And I know you can relate to that.
And I was going to say to you that two things. One is that a part of what's happening is supposed to happen because this is your journey. It's who you are. You're supposed to be morphing. But another part of that, I can say to you because I am at that age. As you get older, you get to a point where you don't care how people see you. You say what you need to say, and you keep it moving. And you're 37. You're going to be 38 December 10th. And so you're going to find that the older you get, the more people are going to describe you as being brazen because you're saying what it is you need to say. And you're not really being brazen. You're just saying what you need to say. And people are not accustomed to that because, as you so eloquently put it, you've been in this cage. And I think in a very real sense, many of us walk around in that cage because we have to put on these masks and act like we're this or act like we're that because that's what's expected out of us. So that when we say something that other people define as being out of character, we're mean or we're not being nice or whatever. And I don't think it's that at all. I think it's that just what you say, you're being who you are, and good for you for being who you are and for finding that you can take what's being given to you and morph it into what it needs to be. Because that's where you find your biggest success, when you're able to take what you already have and mold it into what it is that you need it to be. So good for you on that one as well.
Thank you. And like, it's layered too, right? Like not only was I doing that in my career and as a human, but I was also doing that as a lesbian. Like, this is what a feminine girl's supposed to look like to get guys, playing that role. But then I like look back and I'm like, I was friends with all the dudes. They were like telling me all kinds of things. And I just wasn't, I was playing that role as well. So to be able to shed all of those layers and be like, nah, I'm actually this and I'm actually that, you go through that self-doubt, you go
Mm-hmm.
through that self-judgment, you have those weird ups and downs of like, I remember when I was really getting into it, I'd go out one day in a dress and be like, I'll never forget my makeup artist. So that's my makeup artist came to me. She was like, could you just like cross your legs? And I was like, no, why? She's like, you have a shirt on. I said, it's a dress. It goes past my knees and keep my legs open. I need to. She was like, you are ridiculous. Then the next day I'm out in like a hoodie and whatever. And I'd be like, oh my God, girls, like, pick a problem, Raven, and live with it. But it's like, when you don't have the ability to change and figure yourself out, you just copy what you see others do, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
not in your authentic
Mm-hmm.
self. So I think it's super important for those teenage years and those younger 20 years to experiment. And that's not allowed in a lot of
Right.
families because they think it's going to go too far to the left or too far to the right. And it's like, no, you really have to allow people to figure themselves out as long as they're not hurting others or
Mm-hmm.
themselves in a way that is detrimental to their health.
Right. And you are correct again with that. I think that a lot of times what happens is when children growing up are not allowed to experience who they really are, it does end up falling into that category of that mental illness. They become mentally ill and mentally challenged because of all of the stuff that they've had to carry around. Imagine little kids, 3, 4, and 5 years old, having to carry around stuff that adults can't even deal with. Yet they are forced to deal with this, and we're not. And we, as the adults who are supposed to be the gatekeepers, we're not even considering that these children are experiencing this, and we just keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, and they're not necessarily. It's not necessarily where they want to be or where they need to be. Yet this is what we're doing to them. So we have. I think we have to make sure that we're stepping back and looking at children as individuals, because I think that's part of the problem when you have everybody in this bunch and say, well, this is how you're supposed to act. So that means that you got 10 kids here, all 10 kids are supposed to act the same way. Well, what happens when you have the one who can't function like that? And I give you a perfect example. When our son was in high school, his teachers always had this issue with him because he wouldn't conform. But what they didn't understand is that the education system that's set up, the way that it's set up, was not designed for him because he's a musician, and they were not addressing his needs. So when they would say things to me or to my husband like, oh, he cut class, we'd say, no, he doesn't cut class. You need to look to see can you find him. And they'd look in the music room, and that's where he'd be because that's where he needed to be. So we had to make them understand that your cookie cutter approach of education does not fit him, and he is not going to conform to what you have. So therefore, you've got to either let him go and do his thing, or allow us to do what we need to do to make this happen for him so that he's successful. So it's kind of the same thing, when you've got kids who fall in those categories, and it's a shame that happens so often. But I'm so glad that you, not that you've experienced this, but that you were able to talk about this and share this, because you had a lot of people on here who love you and who are making comments. So I'm going to stop for a moment and see some of what they're saying, and then we'll move on. Let me see. This is so true. I don't know what your head your head got dents. What, I don't know what that is. Just continue to be who you are. You definitely reflect to Mulan and her song Reflection. Okay, not wasting words and breathing. Great. All right, so these are unapologetically right. Great. You're right. They don't know you for real. That's right. And until people really get to know you for real, they're going to always have these things that they're going to say, right? Because you know how that goes. If we don't know something, we fill in the blanks.
And you know what?
Whatever.
that's my career, you know, and please fill in the blanks with supporting me where you can, because I will always be an entertainer. I will always entertain you. And but it is true. It's like, because I've shedded all these layers, I'm able to express myself a little bit more and not feel embarrassed.
Well, that's good. So the other question that we wanted to talk about is about the fact that you have found a way to live in your own truth. We know that there are a lot of miserable people walking around. And I know that's a harsh word, but there are a lot of people who don't live in their truths because they haven't found their truths, or they have not accepted their truths, or whatever the case may be. But they live miserable, unfulfilled lives because they have not stepped into their truth. But you have found your truth, and that's important. So talk a little bit about that.
I mean, it's such a trendy topic, right? Living in your authenticity and living in your truth, but it's trendy because it's real. It's trendy because it's true. It's hard though, right? It's hard to know what is your truth if you are trying to succeed in society, if you are trying to please other people, if you're trying to make a whole bunch of money. People feel like the only people that can live in their truth are those who don't have to hustle because it's taken care of and all of that. And it's not true. What is true, though, is you have to be strong and resilient and believe in who you are and what you're supposed to do. And that comes with self-confidence. That comes with, you know, self-worth. And sometimes that can be hard to create on your own, but it's possible. And, you know, I was miserable every day, miserable. And it showed in my relationships. It showed in the way my body was functioning out in the world. It showed in so many things. And I also believe my miserable feeling prevented me from succeeding in certain aspects. And I love your family. I've worked with people in your family, and I've always gotten praise from your family when it comes to my music. But I always said that my music never reached a certain level that I feel like it should have. But I think that's because I wasn't living in my truth. I wasn't doing and saying the things I tried to, and I, you know, having conversations with those people, but I wasn't myself. I was putting on that hat. I was putting the feeling of what was selling at that time. And sometimes you got to conform. Shit, let's just keep it real. Like I work in a industry that requires hair, makeup, lawyer, agent, manager, publicist, and 17 other people before you take a picture. And then after that picture, 18 other people have to manage that picture, and then it's put out, and then, you know what I mean? So I live in a fake world, but as I slowly, let me tell you what what really happened. COVID lockdown was the first time in my life where I knew I had a job, so I knew I didn't have to hustle. And at the same time, I could stop. I could just stop. And when I mean stop, I mean like stop. I would wake up and just look and be like, okay, I don't have to go to work. I don't have to do anything celebrity driven. Like, everybody is on the same playing field right now. And when I tell you, I was forced to become who I am right now, sitting in front of you. Because I think the last time you saw me, I had a weave like down my back, probably had these up here. Like, I was probably a like, COVID was like, boo, 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 that's not you. That's not you. That's not who you are when you wake up. And my wife helped me do that as well, because I had someone who was like, when I would go out, she was like, you're faking. I'm like, no, this is Raven-Symone. She was like, you're faking. Stop it. And I never got the chance to just stop and look at the human that is Raven-Symone, Christina Pierman Mayday, and be that person. And I actually felt better about myself during that time period, because when I went back to work, people were like, "Oh, you're smiling." I'm like, "Yeah, I got married to someone. I got this done, this done, this done." I'm just like, whew, the hate weight left my body. You know what I mean? And it's hard. And some people need a reboot. Some people like me need to have that moment of just pure pause. You're stuck, and you have to do the truth. And some people can do it as they move, but I don't think I would be where I am now if it wasn't for lockdown, to be 100 with you, because I did not ever have a chance to just live in myself. And it feels fantastic.
I get that, because it actually took me 17 years to write my book. I did not finish it until COVID. When COVID came, it was exactly what you said. I said, what am I going to do? I have no excuses. I have to finish it. And that's exactly what I did. I sat down and I finished it. Yep. So yeah, I think the lockdown, although I all of those lives lost, you know, I feel horrible about that. But at the same time, there was something positive that came out of it. And for me, that was one of the things that did come out of it. Want to stop right here for just another second, because one of my, I was trying to figure out who this person was before, but one of my former students is up here, and she made a comment, and she just said, "Thank you, Dr. Hudson, for being a voice for me when I didn't have a voice." And you met her, Raven. You probably don't remember, but I'll tell you when it was. You were at Great Adventure, and you gave us backstage passes. And I came with these little girls. It was Camille, who's my granddaughter, and this other young lady who was my student at the time. And she was, you know, she just said up here that she absolutely loves you. She still loves you. But that's who that is.
Well, thank you for coming and joining me. Thank you guys for those times. Those times.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you are an inspiration. You really are.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I really try to be. I try not to be who other people try to make me be in life. So I've tried hard to be the opposite of that. But now
I need to just take my dog out of his bathroom. I'm not going to take him to the bathroom. I'm just going to take him out the door. Just give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
One. Babe. Nope. Okay, she's not here. You got to wait a little bit. She left. Okay, never mind.
So you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
I was going to say to you, finally, other than your wife, you have someone else special in your life. Can you talk a little bit about Quinn? And there is
Quinn. Hi, Quinn. He's brand new. I'm a dog lover. I've had so many dogs in my life and have shared them with other people when I've been busy. They found fantastic homes. And he was a little rescue. He got his first haircut today. Hi, Quinn. Hi. Wow. He's oh, that's my ear, boo-boo. Yeah, that's my ear. He's I love a dog. I love the love of an animal. Some about it. And taking care of him, he has been amazing. I'm on another type of lockdown, meaning there's a strike going on in my industry. So I've been forced again to look inward and find peace. And then I was like, I need a dog. That's what I need right now. So that's what happened.
Okay, so here's another funny. Here's another funny. Someone up here said, is Dr. PGB Hudson a therapist? And I am not.
I mean, in your heart of hearts, I feel like all women have that ability to listen without judgment.
Right.
And shine a mirror towards you. And that's what a good therapist does. Someone who can listen without judgment and help you ask questions to heal yourself.
Right.
And I think you do that. I think you do that because you know how important it's and how needed it is. Did you get that when you were younger?
Yeah, that right. So I guess in being an educator, you are that. You know, I tell people all the time, when you are in education, if you're a teacher, you're more than just a teacher. You're a confidant, you're a parent, you're a spiritual leader, you're a disciplinarian, you're all these things to all of these kids. And so you do begin to do that. That is, if you're taking your job seriously, you're that. So just want to ask you if there's anything else that you want to add to the conversation, any questions that you might have, or anything you want to share before we leave, because I know we said it was going to be a half hour, so 6:30 to 7 o'clock. We're already at 19 minutes over our time,
It's
but
okay.
it has been wonderful.
Okay, you can keep me as long as you want to. I like it a lot. I mean, I have so many questions for you when it comes to, like, maybe you can just elaborate after this. My wife read your book, and she too has mental health conversations in her own world, and everybody got issues, right? And I said, but you can see that no matter what you go through, you can put a smile on your face.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, how hard is it for you to put a smile on your face? Or
Well,
is it easy?
I think it's not hard, because having a smile is a part of who I am. It's just me. I'm just that person. So when all of those things were happening to me, they were so against the grain of who I was and who I am, that when these things stopped, it just made me come back to who I was anyway. You know, was it difficult? Sometimes it was difficult to carry a smile, especially when you don't know where you're going to sleep tonight, especially when you don't have food for 3 days, especially when somebody is abusing you constantly. It's hard to smile through that. But I would get through that particular episode, and then I would just move on and just say, you know what? There's got to be a brighter something at the end of all of this.
Did you not have vengeance? Like, was there not a retaliation? Like, I would have had 18 lists and multiple assassins ready for when things went down.
That's interesting too, because I remember trying to, I wanted to learn how to hate my stepfather, who was really the villain in all of this. And when I could not find it in my heart to hate him, I realized that I did not only did I not know how to hate, I couldn't hate. It's not in me. So the retaliation thing, and I used to say, when I become an adult, I'm going to get back at him. I actually started feeling sorry for him. Wow. Because of who he became. So no, I've just not been a vindictive person, never have been, have always tried to be positive. But I have to say, there's another side to me. There's another side to me, like everybody else. I have my other side as well. Okay. And when it comes out, it's not pleasant. So I try to keep it hidden as much as I can, and I smile. Yeah, I smile.
People that have been through similar situations as you, they break. They end up, you hear about DID, multiple personality disorder. You hear about narcissistic personality disorder, massive PTSD, and vengeance, and the repeating what was done to you.
Right.
And you stopped a cycle. You stopped a huge cycle. And in some instances, they would call that the black sheep, the person who goes against the grain. And I feel like sometimes I'm the black sheep of my family, not because I'm Raven-Symone, but for other things. And what does that feel like? Do you feel like you are a black sheep or a pillar, and you have to wear that hat?
I have not. You know what? I haven't identified it by that term, but I have felt different. I have felt different because there have been people in my family who have made me feel different, and not in such a good way.
Yeah.
Because I picked myself up and got myself out of that situation. All of a sudden, I'm this do-gooder, or I'm being bougie, or I'm being this. Yes, so, and I'm just trying to survive, because I've been on the other side, and the other side was not pretty. And so I don't want to go there anymore. And if I'm going to make sure that my children are all right, and my children are all right, I've got to make sure that I fix me so that they are all right. And so that's what I had to do. I had to make sure that I was fixed so that they become all right. Because like you talked about, the children in the future and the future and the future. If I did not fix my children, then my grandchildren would not be all right.
Very true.
And my grandchildren all right. So, you know, you have to do what you have to do. You know, so.
Well, I love you. I love you, and I'm gonna read your book a million times. We have other things to do with each other for sure. And to everyone in the comments, like, you guys understand how important this woman is and how important this conversation is. You guys go back and tell someone. It's not just asking someone if they're okay. It's asking, hey, are you okay? Seeing how long they answer, see what the answer is, and ask another question. Don't be like, okay, bye. You know, it's really important that we watch out for each other.
Right, that's right. Right. And, you know, for those who are interested, the book is called Flying on Broken Wings, and you can get it at my website. Let me see if I can put that in the comments. Usually I don't do well with the comments, but I'm going to see what I can do here. See if I can make this happen. Oh, it's happening. www.genceptz.com. Okay, I think I got this.
Oh, she got her. She got this.
Got it. So that's where you can get it. Actually, if you get it from there, that's my website. You get a signed copy. But of course, it's also at Amazon. You get it from Amazon. Of course, it's not going to be a signed copy.
But it comes real quick. I got mine overnight.
Yep, it does. Yep. So anyway, Raven, I really appreciate you doing this for me, but also for our audience, because I think some people got some things out there from this conversation. And also, I'm looking forward to our dinner or luncheon or whichever it is that we're going to do when we get back to the West Coast. We should be back in about 9 days. Okay. So I will check in with you then, and we can set something up. To our rest of our audience, I plan to do my next interview with Pure Energy, and that should be coming up soon. As soon as their song drops, it's going to drop any day. Raven, you got to check it out.
I can't wait.
It is amazing, and the video is just amazing as well. So you got to check all that out. I think I've kind of covered everything. I want to thank my audience too for being here, because you guys, not only did you come on, you stayed. I appreciate that. I do want to apologize though, because there are lots and lots of comments, but I couldn't get to all of them. There's so many, and when I try to read one, they just keep scrolling. So.
If somebody asked me if I wear pantyhose, they don't need to be brought out anyway. I don't know who that was. Go home somewhere.
No, listen, I heard people saying other stuff. I saw people saying some other stuff too, and I said, okay, I'm not even going to try to address that.
Stay out here in these streets. Go on somewhere.
But anyway, I thank you so much, and to our audience, I thank you. And now I will say to my audience what I always say, and that is, you know what to do. Keep flying on your own wings. Hey. Bye-bye, everybody. I love you guys.
Bye.